Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We have Coach Jay Johnson. Congratulations, Coach, on the win yesterday. We go from Jay Johnson Mondays to Jay Johnson Wednesdays. So I appreciate you coming in after the win. We're going to talk a little bit about Tulane and then obviously preview the Kentucky series. Obviously, anytime you play a midweek game on the road in this juncture of the season, they always get a little tricky. In-state teams always want to beat LSU. Y'all go to New Orleans, and obviously the last probably 3 or 4 years, Tulane's kind of given LSU a lot of issues in their midweek games. Y'all go down to Tulane, take care of business after a rained-out series. What was the message to the team? What did you want to see from the guys yesterday in the midweek game that y'all talked about from the weekend moving forward into Kentucky?
Yeah, I thought we played a really good game last night. I thought the offense was great. I think we had 19 hits and 42 at-bats, so pretty close to 500. I thought the 6 pitchers we ran out there did a really good job. I actually think they pitched better than their numbers maybe even indicated. Going into the game, we were kind of anxious to play. Like, we hadn't played in 3 days. And so these guys like competing, so it didn't really have to get them up for it. I think we want to be consistent in everything that we do. I think they prepared well, and I think it's a good win, and I'm excited to move on to the weekend.
You talked about the 6 arms that you threw in the game. Christian Little started the game. I think he threw 40 pitches in that first inning. You've announced your rotation for the weekend. He's starting the 3rd game, weather permitting, it being on Saturday. Do you expect, and I don't know if you want to divulge this information, but do you have a leash? Do you have a length that you want him to go, being that he threw on Tuesday, or did you kind of factor that into hey, that was just kind of like his work day? He got what he needed to get in, and he's kind of on as good as he is. We can let him go as far as he wants to go.
Yeah, the plan was for him only to go 30 pitches on whether that was on Tuesday, whether that was 1 inning, 2 innings. We got ourselves in the jam and wanted him to work out of it, and he did, which I think was good. I don't think it'll impact him at all for this weekend. He had a 4-inning start against Lamar, given that it was a few weeks ago. But I trust him to get up to 60, 75, 80 pitches and be fine. Like the way he's trending, like the way his stuff's trending. Had a little bout with the strike zone right away, but pitched out of it. He had 3 strikeouts and one of the walks. I think it was debatable whether it was a ball or strike too. So in my book, he struck out 4 guys last night, and really proud of it. Really proud of him for only giving up 1 run right there, and that was big and allowed us to settle into the game and do our deal.
Now, obviously, you don't want to jump too far ahead, but if there is a rain out or if there is a doubleheader on Fridays, does that change that, or it doesn't matter based off of the pitch count and all of that things?
It'll mean he's got to pitch on Friday, and it might. That's out of our control.
Right.
We've kind of had a weird. I haven't been in the South too long, so we've had a weird month here of weather, and it seems like we're adjusting something all the time. And we'll always do what's right for best for the players and the pitchers, and we'll see how he feels. But the good part about it, even though it was 38 or 40 pitches, he only went for 1 inning, so it wasn't an up down or anything like that. So we test these guys every day in terms of where they're at and functionality and how they bounce back, and we'll do that tomorrow to see where he's at. We'll do the same on Friday.
Coach, how impressed have you been with your squad's ability to kind of approach your non-conference and now midweek schedule so far through the season right now?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think I looked at it today, actually. I think we're 20-1 outside of the league. I think that's a testament to we have a good team and good players, but I'm just a super competitive person, and we treat every game like a playoff game. We even kind of came up with this thing for these last 6 midweeks of like a mini regional. We advanced in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and next Tuesday is the winner's bracket game.
Nice.
And if you keep winning, then you get to go to the next round. And, that's just a little extra type thing, but I don't even feel like I really needed to do that because they've respected the game all the time. Doesn't mean we're going to win every time or even play good because baseball's hard, but there's no problem with these guys being super engaged and competing and fighting. They've been great at that every time we've taken the field.
Now, if I read the numbers right, I think it was 55 games played last year and about 74 RBIs, I think. Tommy White obviously missed a little time early to start the year, so he's not going to have in the regular season that many games played, obviously. But I think he's on pace for even more RBIs than that this year. So obviously the clutch gene's there. What has he done this year to elevate his game from what he did last year, which was unbelievable as a freshman?
Yeah, I think he's just controlling the strike zone a lot, but he's not giving away too many pitches or at bats, and so he's not getting himself out on pitches maybe he would have chased, and it's funneling the pitcher into a smaller zone, which is his zone, and allowing him to drive the ball when he gets it. And then he's one of the best two-strike hitters I've ever seen. I mean, he came in with a really, really good foundation, and he's so strong that if he just gets any of that strength behind the ball, not only is it a hit, it's an extra base hit or a home run. And he took 3 swings last night that were super impressive. I mean, he lined out with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
And he can't do that at bat any better than he did it right there. And it's a real consistent deal. He thrives in those RBI situations, and not everybody can do that. Some guys are completely different hitters when nobody's on base versus when people are on base. And we got a couple guys on our team. Dylan obviously and Trey come to mind, and add Tommy to that they're almost better in those situations. And he just doesn't try to do too much, and so you really like seeing him come up in those key spots.
Staying on the offensive side and staying on a guy that I would imagine that you're proud of, especially the way he's rebounded from last year, is Jordan Thompson. And over the last 3 games, obviously he's hit 3 home runs in 3 games. His offense is starting to kind of progress forward, which usually happens towards the middle of the season. You kind of get comfortable and you get in the groove of things. But it seems like, talked about the clutch gene with Tommy and all these guys you're able to hit with guys on base. It seems like he's been in the big moments a lot recently, and he's come through huge, starting from Tennessee and moving on till today. And obviously that 9th inning homer may not look like a lot, but you mentioned earlier today is it took a lot of pressure of you using some arms that you probably didn't want to use in the midweek game.
No question. And I should have listed him with those 3 guys because, in my opinion, he's as good as anybody in those key spots and has a ton of mental toughness. Yep. And is a really good player. I think everybody is seeing that. He's played great defense for us. I'm almost more surprised when he doesn't come through than when he does. And that's a credit to him. And he's really, really improved in the 2 years that we've been here. And he's going to be a tough one to fill just because he's a lot more productive and a lot better than I think he gets credit for a lot of the time.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I've been on the JT train since last year, even though because I kind of knew what was going on behind the scenes with him a little bit, but I mean, super fan of his. Moving on to this weekend, right, to Kentucky. The 2/3 of your rotation has been a little bit inconsistent, obviously moving. Ty Floyd has been good. Last couple outings has had some rocky moments. Thatcher is now moved into the bullpen for now, and Christian Little has had his up and downs. What do you need to see from the 2/3 of the rotation part to kind of get through this weekend without you having to feel like, damn, I really gonna have to overuse the bullpen?
Yeah, I think it's Paul, obviously,
right.
And I think Ty had a good week. I'm really excited to get him back out on the mound. Really excited to get him back on the mound, and that's just not coach speak. I really think we got something locked in with him and Coach Wes Johnson this week. And then after that, it's about the team. It's not about anybody's role or any of that. And
right.
Last night's game was good. I know we gave up 5 runs, but the guys did a good job with the chunk that we gave them, and really came through. And so, we're going to have to do that to finish each game, and then there's probably a game in there where, it might look like that from the start, and that's okay. I don't mind doing that, and I think we got guys that if you give them the right chunk, they can execute at a high level. And if 3 guys do it or 5 guys do it instead of 1 or 3, that's okay. And
right.
The Tampa Bay Rays are the best team in baseball right now, and they've kind of lived by that philosophy. So there must be something to it
for a long time. Yeah.
We spoke about this guy earlier in the year. We've often talked about, and I think it's probably the first thing people talk about as soon as he comes to the plate is his size, right? Like the kid's huge, but he's been so productive and it's kind of gone under the radar, obviously outside of the big homers and stuff like that. But with his production that you've gotten so far, and because of the flexibility it allows you to be able to have when you're setting a lineup and kind of going through a game, can we expect to see Jared Jones playing first base more and Trey getting some outfield because of what it allows you to do?
Yeah, right now that's what we're doing. We can make some changes late in the game if we need to, but he's done a pretty good job at first base. But those at bats are getting more and more professional every game and every weekend. And I'm really glad he's here and on our team. And I give him a lot of credit because he had some strikeout issues early in the season and felt like the game was maybe speeding up on him, which is very natural. It's his first year of college baseball. But I think he's got that reined in to where I really believe I know what we're going to get now, and he has plenty of talent. So if he's just locked in and being a good competitor in that at-bat in the moment, the results are going to turn out pretty good for us. And it was a really, really impressive game last night out of him.
Wait, time out. Did he tell you that the game was speeding up on him? Because he talked to us about, the psychology and talking to, that person about stuff. But for him to have the honesty to tell you about that that's even greater to me.
Yeah, we just, I want to make sure our players, we coach them. Like, we don't just sit back and go like, hey, whatever, you got to figure this out. And my observation was we needed to tighten up his approach and plan a little bit. And then the first thing we need to do is just get him, in control of himself. And that doesn't mean like he was way out of control, but just wasn't as good as it could be.
Right.
And he had good awareness. And so we took a step to get him in the right track that way. And he's taken full advantage of it. And he looks very pro in the things he's doing right now. I'm not talking about the hits or driving the ball or the power. Like, that's been there. It just, he's getting to it in the game a lot more frequently. And even on the at-bats that he doesn't hit a homer or a double, the at-bats with 2 strikes and moving the ball forward and making it hard on the pitcher, those have gotten so much better. And
I'm glad you said that because
who's gonna go?
People get so quick to point out, hey, you need to change your swing or do something with your like fundamental wise. And you went straight to, hey, no, it's not about that. It's about let's tighten up the approach, let's tighten up the mind, let's get you thinking a different way. And I respect that a lot because so many people are so quick to saying, oh no, like you're doing this wrong in your swing or doing that, and a lot of times it's not the case.
Yeah, we just want to be complete. We want to give the player every avenue, but you got to know exactly what they need. He has a beautiful swing. He has a great swing, and he's loaded up early. He's into the ground, uses all of his strength. He's on time. He doesn't let the pitcher disrupt his timing because of all of those things. He has good eyes. He sees the ball well. So to get to that in the game, we thought it was a different tweak. And there's times you go like, hey, you need to change your sights on the ball, and that'll shorten you up if you're looking for the top of the ball. Don't try to do too much. Stay in the middle of the field. But the swing stuff, that's all kind of way behind us. Yeah. Like, he's so talented. He picked all the stuff up we wanted him to do really quickly. And he also came in with a really good foundation.
And I'm glad you mentioned it and explained it that way, because I think that's what I was kind of touching on early on in the year when I said his presence alone is going to be huge, because let's be honest, it is baseball. Like, you're not going to always hit 500, and if you're hitting 300, you're great. So when these at-bats don't end in hits and all these type of things, what type of production are you still getting out of him? And I think you're kind of starting to see that progress and come along right now.
Yeah, no question. And I'm really, hard on these guys for that. I see the homers, and I want to be complete, because you're going to run into a really good pitching where you're going to have to grind it out, and it can't be this feast or famine type deal. And that's what I like about our team is it's hard. We played a good schedule. I think 20 of our 32 games have been against top 100 teams, and most of those have been against top 50 or top 25 teams. And you're not always going to get 10 to 15 runs. So you have to be able to put things together. And I really like that he's been a part of some of those rallies, and he's still getting to some of that super talent and power. And that's a credit to him and his development as a hitter.
Coach, Kentucky comes in ranked number 12th in the country. I don't think a lot of people thought they were going to be where they were when the season started. Obviously, that happens a lot. But they play a different brand of baseball than most people in the SEC play and teams that y'all have faced this year play, right? What does Kentucky do? Obviously, they run. They pitch more to contact. What do they do that you want? I guess that you're kind of messaging to the guys. Hey, listen, these guys are going to do some things that we haven't seen a lot this year. We're going to have to be ready offensively, defensively to be able to handle that.
Yeah, hat tip to them. Like, they have a very clear identity, and they play to it really well, and all they care about is winning. Nobody's over there really worried about getting drafted or this or that. And they're going to have pro players, like, make no mistake about it. But they're executing what they do well to win. I think super important that we get the leadoff hitter out. I mean, that's going to be a massive key to the series. They're going to bunt, and you just have to handle the ball when it's on the grass and get an out when they do that, and then force them to swing the bat to beat you. We do a good job holding runners. We have outstanding catchers as far as how they throw. Our guys do a good job of holding the ball and picking, varying their timing to the plate, varying their looks at second base. Wes does a great job with setting that up correctly. So we have to just do that on defense. And on offense, I'm in a super deep dive tonight. They're doing a little interesting thing with their rotation this weekend. So, just looking at it, they do a good job with their personnel of pitching to like a template for each guy to be successful. Yeah. And so we just have to take our character or our caliber at bats. If you get outside of that, this type of pitching can really expose you.
You mentioned Gavin Gidger earlier today. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt, but you put him in this maybe the biggest situation of the weekend last weekend in South Carolina, and I think he passed with flying colors. Obviously, his demeanor on the mound is one thing, but he's got the stuff and he's got the mindset. Can we start seeing him in that role a lot more frequently moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, late in the game, it just I think it takes some stuff, but it takes special makeup and character to pitch in those leverage spots at the end of the game, and he has that. I mean, he clearly has that, and you can see it quickly. Like, I actually, on last Tuesday against Nichols, we intentionally walked a guy, and then we brought him in to strike a guy out that we thought he could strike out, kind of preparing for what I thought was maybe coming down the weekend with South Carolina, and then this weekend, with Kentucky. And I got full trust in him. And doesn't mean he's going to be or has to be perfect all the time, but I know where we're getting from a competitive standpoint, and the stuff is really, really good. I mean, he's hit some 95s, pitched, a lot of 94s. The breaking ball is really good, and he's comfortable staring down a barrel and going for it.
Yeah, we saw that.
I think he's more than comfortable doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Coach, whenever you talked a little bit about what your offensive approach is, have you been noticing more of how teams are game planning for you whenever you saw the shift a lot with that Tulane did, and you saw it obviously in the previous weekend? Is that something that you have to address with the team, or you are just kind of business as usual?
Yeah, no, I mean, our deal, like, we'll give them the unique characteristics that they need to know about, and there'll be some topics or points of emphasis, I guess is a better way to say it, that you need to bring for a certain game. But for us, how we roll is the pitcher has to adjust to what we're doing. And, we just don't want to be easy to pitch to. And these guys aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. They're pretty talented, and we don't give away very many at-bats. And, that allows us to stay in games. And frankly, I don't think we were very good last weekend at South Carolina. And, it's 5 runs and it's 8 runs in an SEC game. And so the bar for the at-bats and the offensive approach is really, really high. And these guys are meeting it, but they're going to have to continue to meet it because we're playing some great offenses over the next few weeks that they're going to score a little bit. So we have to stay on top of our game.
Coach, who sent Cade Beloso last night?
You can ignore him. Just ignore him.
I mean, he was thrown up by 90 feet.
It's funny. We have these things in the bases called out rules of when we're going to challenge runners. Like, you're trying to get to third base with 1 out, but you don't want to make the first or third out at third. You're trying to get home with 2 outs. You're trying to get to second with 2 outs. We never want to make the first out on the bases because of our lineup. And so we kind of, live and die by that. And then I was telling Coach Jordan, it's like, okay, we got those, but then we need a new set for Kate.
Hey, listen, Coach, don't worry about it. We're working on getting mute buttons put at my spot and Mikey's spot.
Yeah, so we can just mute.
We can phase him out when he does this to you.
I'm the one that runs the board. It's up to me.
Tough questions, no problem. And Coach Jordan's a tough guy. Like I didn't get on him too much on that one. He knew
You
right
gave
away.
him the 1,000 miles.
Well, he held him up last week before the Grand Slam, and I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna test him and just see what he's got.
Yeah. No doubt. That was a huge moment in that game.
Yeah.
Ackenhausen and Kling, can you tell us where they are right now and what their progression will be going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Paxton pulled his hamstring, his high hamstring, which I guess if there's a silver lining is the higher it is, the quicker it heals. If it's lower, it's a little harder because it's kind of connected to your knee. He's getting treatment all day. It'd be hard pressed to say that I think he could play this weekend. I don't think that's happening.
Right.
And then it'll be, a day-to-day, week-to-week thing, which is too bad because he's been very good for us. Yes. And he's a key member of our team, and you can use him in a lot of different ways. We've won a lot of games with him starting and adds a lot and a unique dynamic to our team. With Nate, it just needs time. It's kind of the same thing. He's not quite the same athlete as Paxton, so in my opinion, that thing should be healing up a little bit quicker.
They're built the same. What are you talking about?
We're in it for the long haul, and want to have a great full season and end of the year, and we're going to really need him. So my hope is he can pitch this weekend. If he doesn't, the goal then becomes to get him back for Tuesday or next weekend.
Right.
And does Tulane not have a cart? They made that man walk from right field all the way to the dugout. We didn't have anything to get him in like a little bit quicker. Like they made him stretch that injury out a little bit for old Paxton Kling.
Yeah.
You relieve the charge.
Josh Walker and Blake Money, they helped him out. And then I was sitting there thinking like, man, I really don't like him coming out of the game, and what does this mean? And, figuring out what we were going to do. But, yeah, I'll get on Coach Ullman over there. Like, where's the you need a golf cart with, like, a Tulane baseball hat on the top of it.
There you go. There you go. That's like a bullpen cart.
And Lloyd will drive it. So.
Oh, yeah. If you need, just
Coach,
no BAC.
I appreciate you coming on the show as always. We'll be in Alex Box tomorrow. We'll see you at the box. Good luck this weekend, and hopefully the rain holds off. I promise you at some point it's going to stop, and it's going to be nice and beautiful spring days. Looking forward to those.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.